After having broken industry records in the short time it's graced the pages of Weekly Shonen Jump, Takeru Hokuzono's flaming hot manga series Kagurabachi has begun its third arc in a sensational way. So, how is it going for Chihiro and his friends? Who is the new nemesis that this budding swordsmith's apprentice turned swordsman will face? And ultimately, what can we look forward to from this amazing shonen manga in the future? Well, keep your eyes peeled until the end of this video as we tell you all about what to expect from Kagurabachi Chapter 20. But before we start, please be warned that there's going to be massive spoilers about Kagurabachi's latest installment. With that out of the way, let's dive right into today's video. The story of Kagurabachi so far. In the wake of the Shoujo arc, Hokuzono has set up a lot of developments and revelations concerning the world of Kagurabachi. For one, we fans have been recently made aware that the elite Kamunabi sorcerer squad that was tasked with reclaiming Kugurumo, aka Cloud Gouger, one of Kunishige's mystic katanas, have been nearly wiped out thanks to Shoujo's skill with the blade. We've also learned more about the details surrounding Kunishige's death in Chapter 18, when Kamunabi's higher-ups revealed that the former wielder of Cloud Gouger was murdered around the same time as the Master Swordsmith. Upon finding this out, the sorcerer-led government office made it their mission to protect the remaining mystic katana wielders. So far, we've only gotten a glimpse of 4 of these Saitai war heroes and nothing more. That's not to mention one important element concerning how these extremely powerful mystic katanas work, the life-perish rule. It's a failsafe that binds a wielder to any given mystic katana so that they're the only ones who can utilize its powers. This rule states that a mystic katana wielder has to die before any other person can use it, which explains why the same criminal organization, Hishaku, took out Cloud Gouger's original owner. But perhaps the most striking development that we fans have been treated to so far in Kagurabachi is the revelation that Kamunabi is an organization shadier than a beachfront palm tree. So, kudos to Hokuzono-sensei for portraying this group along the lines of a chaotic lawful entity, than, say, one that's boringly neutral lawful. Kamunabi's underhanded tactics were in full display when they decided to mark Chihiro as an enemy of the state and ordered one of their assassins, Hiyuki Kagari, to retrieve Enten, Chihiro's own mystic katana, by any means necessary. Additionally, they believe Chihiro has also taken Cloud Gouger after Shoujo's defeat, and they want Hiyuki to retrieve it for them as well. From here, we also learn that, much like everyone else aside from Chihiro and the late Kunishige, Kamunabi have no idea that Enten existed until they saw the boy wielding it, and curiously enough, their organization had no idea that Kunishige even had a son back when he was alive. Most recently, we saw Kagurabachi's scarred protagonist Chihiro hot on the trail of Japan's underbelly to search for the location of the rakuza ichi, the infamous underworld auction where another one of the mystic katanas, the Shinichi, will be up for grabs. So far, he and his confidant Shiba know that the rakuza ichi is handled by a prominent criminal family made up of powerful sorcerers, the Sazanami clan, and whether it's through the red string of fate or pure coincidence, Chihiro's search has led him to meet one of these Sazanami clan members, a boy named Hakuri Sazanami. What to expect in Kagurabachi Chapter 20. After disposing of the Yakuza members inside their loft and meeting Hakuri, Chihiro finally realizes that he's come face to face with a potentially important source of information. Hakuri is a Sazanami after all. Continuing their conversation from the previous chapter, Chihiro asks Hakuri what it is he needs help with. The Sazanami boy reveals that, unlike the rest of his clan, he wants to put an end to the rakuza ichi. Unsurprisingly, Chihiro is rather confused with what Hakuri just told him. He tells Hakuri that his family, the Sazanami clan, is in charge of the illegal auction, so why does he want to stop it? And it's here that Hakuri reveals his status within the clan. He tells Chihiro that, yes, he has Sazanami blood coursing through his veins, but the clan has disowned him for a couple of reasons. First, the Sazanami clan prioritizes the rakuza ichi over everything. To do that, they make it a point to only exclusively have clan members who possess exceptional skills in sorcery, a quality that Hakuri admits he doesn't even remotely have. Secondly, and this is where Hokuzono-sensei leaves another trail of delicious plot-related breadcrumbs, Hakuri states that the Sazanami disowned him for getting in the way of the family business. The boy reveals his motives for going against the Sazanami too, as he reveals to Chihiro that the rakuza ichi is much dirtier and inhumane than he originally thought. Not only does the underworld auction put valuable objects like Kunishige's mystic katanas up for bids, but it's also famous for selling live humans and corpses to the highest bidder. As Hakuri puts it, he grew up knowing that the rakuza ichi's disregard for human life and desecration of the dead is all normal. But one day he realized it was all just wrong, which made him come to the decision to put a stop to the notorious event. Hakuri asks Chihiro if he's the type of guy who saves people, to which the swordsman replies with his usual aloof demeanor that no, he's just investigating the rakuza ichi. And in a moment of pure fourth wall breaking goodness from Hokuzono-sensei, Hakuro and Chihiro both acknowledge the fact that it's uncanny how they met right at this moment. A Sazanami and a guy just looking for details about the rakuza ichi. The two get into the loft's elevator and Chihiro asks Hakuri if he knows any inside information about the family and the rakuza ichi. Particularly, Chihiro wants to know where the clan stashes the items for the event in hopes of locating and retrieving Shinichi before the auction even begins. Not only does Hakuri tell Chihiro that he knows where the stash house is, but that he's aware that the Shinichi is the year's headlining item for the rakuza ichi. Realizing Chihiro intends to steal it, he becomes excited knowing that the event will bomb and ultimately put an end to the annual auction without the Shinichi. Hakuri revels in the fact that his and Chihiro's goals are aligned, further convincing him that they should team up. He then asks Chihiro if he plans to use Shinichi after stealing it, and the mystic katana wielder tells him the truth. He's really not sure what he'll do with it. All Chihiro knows is that the sword is important to him, and having it fall in the wrong hands would only invite bloodshed in the world. All the while, he's reminded of Sojo and his insane devotion to massacre after being a huge fanboy of Kunishige and the mystic katanas. All this just solidifies his resolve as Chihiro basically tells Hakuri that he feels responsible for all the deaths that any one of the mystic katanas might bring, and if that should happen, it would be unbearable for the swordsman. Chihiro receives a call on his cell phone while the elevator he and Hakuri are on makes its descent to the ground floor. It's Shiba, and he tells the Rokuhira swordsman that he's heard from Azami. Chihiro ends the call, which piques Hakuri's curiosity. The swordsman tells the ex-Sazanami clan member that someone is going after him. Chihiro needs to go back to their base and invites Hakuri to come with him. At that moment, the elevator's doors pull open and they see a man standing a short distance away, right in front of Chihiro and Hakuri. And it's here that we become privy to what Shiba mentioned during their short phone call earlier. The person hunting Chihiro is the assassin that the Kamunabi sicked on him, a man named Hiyuki Kagari. Shiba tells him that Hiyuki is a sorcerer that's a cut above the rest, as he wields an ability called the Flame Bone of the Starving, a power that can match those of the mystic katanas. Hiyuki wastes no time and activates his Flame Bone ability, setting his right arm ablaze, covered by, fittingly, giant finger-shaped bones. He tells Chihiro that he has only one chance to surrender now and give Hiyuki his mystic katana, otherwise he wouldn't hesitate to use the full potential of his Flame Bone technique to take Enten away from Chihiro. Hakuri hears Hiyuki's warnings and realizes that the guy beside him is not only wielding a mystic katana, but also happens to be related to Kunishige. Chihiro surveys the lobby of the building and notices that all the other people who were there before have disappeared. The concierge is replaced by a man donning a chonmage, the traditional hairstyle that sumo wrestlers wear. And if that doesn't give you a clue about his sorcery's theme, that same guy tells Chihiro that he has transmuted the entire lobby into a dojo, the sacred ring where sumo wrestlers battle each other to avoid any civilian casualties that might occur. He further reveals that the spell will only end once the match is over. Chihiro realizes that they're members of the Kamunabi and tells Hiyuki that he has no intention of fighting against these government agents. However, he doesn't even get to finish his sentence when Hiyuki lunges at him with his bone-covered flaming arm. Chihiro blocks the Kamunabi assassin's opening salvo with Enten. All the while, Hiyuki yells at him that, yes, there is a reason that they need to fight, for the Kamunabi to take the 7th mystic katana away from Chihiro. The Flamebone sorcerer barrages the Rokuhira swordsman with a flurry of fiery strikes, but Chihiro manages to defend himself by using Aka, Enten's very own defensive technique that allows it to absorb any attack. All the while, Haruki watches from a distance as the two combatants get to it. Hiyuki taunts Chihiro and asks him where Cloud Gouger is, thinking that he took it after taking down Sojo half a month ago. Meanwhile, Chihiro realizes that Hiyuki's Flamebone sorcery is as deadly as Shiba told him, considering that not even Aka was able to fully absorb his strikes. As we'd expect from Chihiro, he tells Hiyuki the truth. He broke Cloud Gouger during his final duel with Sojo. This surprises the Kamunabi agent. Hiyuki asks his companion, the chonmage-clad man behind the concierge desk, if it's even possible for mystic katanas to be broken, to which he replies that Chihiro is lying. Hiyuki, now clearly miffed, asks Chihiro if he is indeed lying, but the wielder of Enten has had enough. He simply tells his opponent to let the whole deal about the mystic katanas go and that he has no intention of killing Hiyuki. The Kamunabi assassin acknowledges Chihiro's resolve. Still, he has his own principles. Hiyuki thinks that any person who possesses a mystic katana cannot be trusted, that they each have their own selfish motives for wielding these powerful weapons. And to Hiyuki, the only rational solution to preventing anyone from wielding so much power is by having the Kamunabi take custody of the mystic katanas. At that point, the Flamebone sorcerer places his palm on the floor and uses an ability he calls Rikuo, which makes sharp ribcage-shaped bones to spring from the ground beneath Chihiro. The swordsman evades the attack by jumping back, but he notices Hiyuki in midair about to lunge at him with his flaming arm, before Chihiro can fully recover. The two clash bone against blade. All the while, the Kamunabi assassin tells Chihiro what happened to the special squad tasked with retrieving Cloud Gouger, how they were wiped out except for one member, Kazane, who now has to live without his entire right arm. Hiyuki gets serious and tells the swordsman that this is the kind of tragedy that happens when someone gets a hold of a mystic katana, and he intends to prevent it from ever happening again. Hearing this reminds Chihiro of Sojo again, and he understands the kind of misery that the mystic katanas bring in spite of the fact that they were instrumental in ending the Saitai War. Hakuri continues to watch Chihiro and Hiyuki fight from inside the elevator. He notices that his newfound ally is in trouble, as a bloodied Chihiro defends against Hiyuki's fiery assaults. Seeing this, Hakuri remembers their conversation earlier, about how Chihiro told him that he couldn't remain idle while the mystic katanas take innocent people's lives. The ex-Sazanami clan member hesitates for a moment before he charges headlong toward the battle. He rushes between the two and blocks one of Hiyuki's flaming strikes, which sends him flying. All the rest of them can do at that moment is stare and bewilder at what Hakuri just did. Meanwhile, despite a bloodied face and likely a broken jaw, Hakuri tells Chihiro that he might not know the swordsman well and that he has no clue about who should wield the mystic katanas. But all that be damned, because all Hakuri knows is that Chihiro has saved his life twice before. Our thoughts about Kagurabachi Chapter 20 Theories. The way Hokuzono-sensei opened the Rakuza Ichi arc is simply sensational. We're only 2 chapters in this current storyline, and we fans are already treated to a showdown between Chihiro and Hiyuki. Speaking of, we can't help but wonder about the true potential of Hiyuki's Flamebone sorcery. As Shiba puts it, it's a technique that's similar to the mystic katanas, but to what extent? So far, we know that both the mystic katanas and sorcery in the world of Kagurabachi uses Genryoku, or life energy, to unleash devastating techniques, although in different ways. Sorcerers directly draw upon this energy, while mystic katana wielders channel it through the sword. So that's an obvious comparison between the Flamebone technique and the Rokuhira blades. More interestingly, the mystic katanas that have been revealed in Kagurabachi so far each have 3 distinct base techniques that they can utilize. Chihiro's Enten has Aka, Kuro, and Nishiki, while Sojo's Cloud Gouger has Mei, Yui, and Ko. This is what Shiba meant when he said that the Flamebone technique is similar to the mystic katanas. Then we can say that Hiyuki has revealed 2 of the 3 techniques he can use with it. First, there's his as-yet unnamed bone-covered flaming fist and Rikuo. That said, it's not going to be a surprise if we see a 3rd iteration of Flamebone by Kagurabachi's next chapter. Then again, perhaps Shiba simply meant that Hiyuki's power levels are comparable to that of a mystic katana wielder. Only time and Hokuzono-sensei will tell. Then there's Hakuri. We've only seen this guy for a couple of chapters as of Kagurabachi's 20th installment, but here we see him more fleshed out. His actions and origin story indicate that he's on the side of good. There's no doubt about that. Still, it's not too much of a stretch to speculate if this is all just an act that he's putting on to get on Chihiro and his friends' good side. Remember, the Sazanami clan, and the Hishaku for that matter, are 2 very powerful and influential figures in the world of Kagurabachi. As such, it's not out of the question for either organization to use a spy like Hakuri to get close to Chihiro and, ultimately, steal Enten. And what better spy to send than one who appears completely powerless? Speaking of Hakuri's lack of sorcery skills, it's notable that he mentioned that one of the reasons he got kicked out of the Sazanami clan was because he got in the way of the family business. But how could he have done that if, according to Hakuri himself, he was the most powerless Sazanami of them all? In any case, all we fans can do right now is wait for the next installment of this groundbreaking shonen manga by Takeru Hokazono. What did you think about Kagurabachi's 20th chapter? Got any theories about what will happen in the story next? Let's talk about it in the comments section below. And for the latest manga and anime content, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications. We'll see you in the next video, guys.